Anthony. Okay, this is a meeting of the Sleepy Hollow Local Development Corp. Date is July 28th. The full quorum started with the minutes, July 14th. Have any edits, changes, additions?
Motion to approve the minutes of July 14th as presented. Seconded.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have no expenditures today. Move on to resolution. One resolution, I sent something around on this. Like to vote on it today versus discussing it in exec and not getting the vote done. But does anybody want to discuss this? This is to grind and filter and move all the fill that's sitting in the
Locate the large pile that's
like 50,000 yards. And while Sean's Lawns is waiting for the wall extension, they have downtime now. So the thought would be to take advantage of that and allow them to do all that work now while they're waiting. We eventually have to do it.
Just as a matter of course, so moving to a different portion of the property, what's the rationale for that versus complete removal? And this could entirely be an ignorant question.
Yeah, we're going to need that fill.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be primed and ready to use after they get all the rocks
Gotcha.
out.
Okay.
And sifted or whatever they do. And they'll put it in a neat pile on the north end there. And if the village needs any of that or we do, people can still get to it, load up, but it frees up the whole field area, which can be graded and seeded, and it'll dramatically change the look, and it probably could increase usage during the whole process over the next few years, right? I mean,
are there boulders or is it just like?
yeah, they're big rocks. There's some of the crib wall, those piles are filled with stuff.
After they're done, we'll be left with essentially a large stockpile of clean screen fill, and then a smaller stockpile of crushed materials, that concrete that's been crushed down, rocks, so that you'll have something.
Which can also be used.
Yeah,
Can you be used for all of these things?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, you can have them separate the rocks that are like potentially
The big ones, like landscaping.
Yeah. You know how long it'll take?
We've done that before. I don't know how many actual boulders there are. I mean, some of the previous projects dealt with those already.
Yeah, we used to have boulders, but a lot of this, Lauren, is crib wall, so it's more like cement.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But if you go down there, you can see it's a massive area,
Yeah.
and you just got to visualize what it'll look like if we get all that organized.
Yeah.
Which we have to do eventually anyway, but part of the deal is to take advantage of this couple of weeks. And the price, Dan did some work on that, and we've had some experience, same sort of work. This price is fair. It was high. I think they started out like 6.
Started out very high.
Yeah, and we got them down to 4, which is the ballpark.
What did they think the schedule was? They think it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long. I mean, that's all they'll be doing. They're pretty efficient once they get working.
And so this will go adjacent to the tracks in the northern part. And
Yeah, there's
And it won't be as widespread as it is now.
yeah, that's kind of.
consolidated.
Yeah, I remember that part. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Going to this area.
Correct.
And then the path that we're gonna be opening up for access, I think you had last said you want it along here, but now, we originally talked around the perimeter, but now, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I can get into that in my regular
Okay.
report. I can just reference this.
Okay. And then what are they gonna do at the site after they move the dirt?
It'll be completely just leveled and graded flat.
Seeded?
Yeah, well, I would probably have them put down more of like a lawn type grass seeding.
Okay.
That considering, we want to use it as an actual field
Yeah.
versus, the more low maintenance
Yeah.
mix, it's gonna have more like, wildflowers and kind of longer grass and stuff in it, so.
So help me understand, so this is gonna be used as temporary vehicle parking. This is gonna be, have you talked to Kevin about what type of grass, or what mix? Cause I think you should talk to him about what's the easiest. Like, does he?
Yeah, well, first I need to get, the contractor's gonna have to submit, the actual seed mix for approval.
Okay,
So we can certainly take a look. I know we've given them a couple suggestions as to what we'd like to see.
okay,
Certain areas
Yeah.
where it's gonna be off the side of the road versus larger areas.
yeah,
But yeah, the idea would be that would be more of like a typical grass, right? So that it could be more usable as an open field.
which I think would be ideal, but I'm just, if for some reason there is not gonna be possible to mow it, or if that's not gonna be, I would just check with him to make sure that he's good with maintaining, because, right, that would be up for the DPW to maintain after it's seeded, right?
Unless we're hiring landscapers.
Okay.
But I mean, there's also going to be, this is kind of going adjacent to the skate park promenade.
Right,
There's gonna
yeah.
be areas that certainly will have to
Have
be
heavy,
maintained.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but can you just, can we have that conversation before we make the decisions? That's all I can.
So this fill is gonna be clean, and we're gonna have needs for it throughout, the DPW site. The village may need some for the senior center. I don't know where you stand on that. Still working on it, yeah. So that's the resolution. Any other questions? People comfortable voting on it? It's a change order.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to change order for 400,000?
Motion to approve the resolution authorizing the change order for the fill, screening, crushing, and moving as necessary.
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Dan, I think you're up next.
We'll start with just a quick update on the east parcel. Sean's Lawns has moved very quickly with the wall extension. As of our last meet, or since our last meeting, the temporary SOE was installed. They completed excavation and removal of all the existing crib wall that was to be removed, and even had the leveling pad that the precast units sit on. Poured.
Did you guys get the pictures I sent?
Yeah.
Right now, the tentative schedule is that some of the precast units may begin arriving at some point next week. And the contractor plans on starting to go, set the units in backfill beginning on or around August 11th. It'll probably take about 2 to maybe 3 weeks to basically go from the bottom row all the way up to a completed wall. Additionally, there was a couple 100 feet of 8-foot chain link fence that was installed between DeVries and the Metro North retaining wall adjacent to their siding tracks at the property line. That all looks really good, and that just also ensures that it restricts any public access to the railroad property.
Sorry, that goes along here.
Not the whole way. There's, I mean, I can, it is shown on that map graphic, you know, in yellow, but it's pretty much from DeVries to, I think, right around here.
Okay.
And then there will be another, when they complete the wall work, there's another couple 100 feet that goes in at the bottom half here. And this is already a retaining wall with soil on top. So that, in conjunction with some of the fencing that we would be putting in using Colmar, that would get us to the point where whenever we are ready to do so, we can open the portions of the site at least to the public.
Should have ribbon cutting. Yeah.
Some of the additional work coming up, or what the contractor is going to be working on in the next couple of weeks. The vendor has already, I guess, completed the fabrication of the light poles. So those will be installed on the bases, I think, starting this week. And some additional perimeter fencing from where the current portions of the wall all the way up into Beekman should start being installed this week. As well as the precast wall unit deliveries, as I mentioned. Moving forward to grants.
Sorry, for fencing, can you finish out the conversation about the access? Or unless you're gonna cover it later?
Sure. Yeah, I can do it now. It's actually fine before we talk about grants. So yeah, I think I had really the fencing south of Continental Street. There's really no change. We are putting about 1,000 feet around the future DPW area that'll allow Kevin to, relocate his equipment onto some portions where some millings have been spread around and impacted.
Right there, that looks.
Yep, you can see they kind of made a little access road and an area for paving. That was all work that the DPW coordinated with Sean's Lawns that has no, financial effect on this project. And then there's some fencing that goes in addition to what Sean's Lawns is installing around the 193 Beekman property, as well as a couple gates at Continental Street. And some of the southern project limits so that we can continue to restrict access until until the road is completed, some of the other park space is completed, and we can just, leave the DPW area fenced off. So the remaining portion in question was, yes, we had two options. One was to run basically fencing, almost north-south, right, from like the intersection that's been constructed to DeVries, leaving almost to about 2/3 of the northern portion of the east parcel fenced off, right? And the main reasoning for that is that's the area that we utilize for overflow parking when HHV or the village has a need, and it's also an area that we are targeting with some of our grants through this year's CFA application. And this is really, once this southern portion is completed, this would be ideally the next area of focus to rip up the asphalt, start putting in some of the pervious, parking and pathways and that building out those passive recreation spaces. By utilizing the alternate fencing plan, right, was to have some fencing that kind of allowed a little bit of a buffer between the HHV property and ours and kind of wrapped around. The only problem with that is if then we had a project where, hey, we're going to start redeveloping that, we're going to have to come in and rip out or reinstall that fencing elsewhere.
So is it going to basically be a corridor just like along like this?
Yeah, almost exact. Yes. Now, the only difference is right now we would only be putting in fencing on this side. We would have to determine once the fill is relocated, if it's, I guess, an attractive of enough nuisance to require additional fencing to cordon off this.
Yeah.
Or
It's going to be a giant pile of dirt, right?
Oh, well, it'll be a giant pile of dirt, sure. But
At the top of the CW.
I mean, I don't, that'd be more a question. I mean, is there a risk there? If it's, as long as there's not, sharp pointy things sticking out of that dirt, like if it's just
like
dirt, like that's no
here's
different than if it was it's a hill, right?
Is it going to be seeded with anything, or is it just going to, because I feel like if it had grass growing, that would be less, but if it's just dirt and a bunch of people are climbing up it, it's gonna.
It's certainly gonna start as dirt, but if you look at some of the, I mean, you look at the pile now,
Yeah.
grass will grow on it without
Yeah.
even doing anything over time. So I think it's something that we don't have to fence around it
Okay.
right now,
Okay.
but when we are ready, hey, we're ready to, take down the gates and let people start flowing through and using the road. If we need to put some additional fencing there,
Okay.
we can certainly do that or figure out, what needs to be done to, just maintain a safe perimeter. It might not be, chain link fencing. It might. So that's where I think really
Is it cheaper to just do it all at once?
not necessarily. The cost of the chain link fence, is not something that's going to fluctuate wildly. And I think that the vendor that we are using currently, would probably maintain their pricing. So if we
Okay.
wanted to add additional
Okay, got it.
fencing, they also gave us an option if we wanted to just use, instead of having permanent post-mounted fencing, you can lease, the type that you typically see at construction sites where it's just
Concrete ones?
movable. Well, I know it's still chain link fencing, but it's panels that are movable.
Yeah.
Just have sandbags holding them there.
Got it.
And it's just, so if the pile size decreases or we need fencing elsewhere, you have more flexibility. It just really depends on how long it's going to be there. So something we can certainly consider moving forward, but really looking to kind of lock in so that I can get the vendor started on some of these installs now. If there's a preference one way or one way or another on that fencing plan option.
Sorry, what's the decision now?
So it would be to just put the one string
Yeah.
of fence
Yeah.
here between DeVries and
Yeah.
basically creating, I don't know what the exact size is, maybe it's 6 acres,
Yeah.
right? Completely blocked off.
Yeah.
Versus the fencing that runs more along the
Oh.
border here and fences this all, it kind of creates another fenced off interior portion. And then so the difference would be funneling people just straight from DeVries to the intersection versus kind of around. And just this, keeping people kind of along this corridor, almost in line with this roadway, just preserves more space here for
Yeah, okay.
future projects. And, inevitably the village has a need for a contractor to come in and park some, equipment and things. So that's good. All right.
What else you got?
All right, so we'll jump over. Oh, well, I guess first, real quick, the Lankin Tully did start about middle of last week, either Thursday or Friday. The physical field work for the updated topo survey. So they said that would take about 4 to 5 days. They should be finishing sometime this week, and then we can expect the first phase of that updated survey around the beginning of August. And that's exactly what the Woodard and Curran team is looking for, to lock in the guaranteed maximum price for the park project. And then as far as grants, we'll start with for our DEC Climate Smart Communities grant. I believe we are almost ready to execute with the state that extension and that back of house DPW project. Before we can do that, I think we need approval from the village board on that, what the scope, just confirming the scope of that. And then there's still, I think, Anthony, a couple of forms.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just explain that again. The grant for the back of the house, I thought we already did that, got that.
Yes, we have so that grant, right, originally was intended to cover the entire DPW construction. We were able to modify that grant to be just the back of the house. But because of that modification and an extension of time that was requested to complete that project, the state had to completely re-input.
So they view it as a new.
It's not a new project. It's just
Well, we still have.
We still have the grant. Yeah, it's not, but it's a matter of before we can begin submitting for reimbursements, we have to actually execute the
Got it,
contract
got
with
it.
them.
Okay.
So that's just
Scope.
what's that?
Selecting the specific scope.
The scope is already essentially in there, right? And it's just a matter of, can we proceed, the needing approval from the Board of Trustees that this is a project that should be advanced and we're ready to execute and do what we need.
And that was, sorry, remind me, that was the $4 million,
It's a $4 million
Total.
project of,
2 million grant?
yeah, 2 million grant, 2 million match, 4 million total.
Yeah.
We've already spent about half of it.
Yeah,
Right, so it's, the project is really going to be about $2 million.
yeah,
Plus, recall, we did get some, a proposal from the architect. There's gonna be some engineering.
Yeah.
Design fees on top of that, so assume something like a 2.5 million. That's
more
all
to spend,
that we still have to spend
Okay.
in order to get the 2
the
million.
2 million, okay. And then, so the 1.5 we've already spent, they're counting the road is in the scope or what's in?
Of the money we've already spent, it's only money that was, cutting down the fill, putting in
Got
the
it.
retaining wall here, the drainage around the back. So it's
Okay.
all stuff that is.
Prepping the site for that one.
And the design.
And
The design
Okay.
is 300,000 that as soon as we execute, we can submit for $300,000.
So the trustees have to do something?
Yeah, why did the trust?
I think we just need to make sure that we're okay to execute with the state and move that project forward.
Mayor.
Okay.
Good.
Additionally, the CFA grants will be submitted at the end of this week. Just again, a quick recap. We are applying through 5 different CFA programs. The WQIP, which would be towards the salt shed. The Regional Council Capital Fund, which would be applied towards the DPW fueling and the multi-purpose field. The Strategic Planning Fund, which would be going towards the proposed vehicular and pedestrian bridge between east and west parcel, as well as the pedestrian bridge further north between DeVries and Kingsland. So to try and get some money towards not construction, but just if there's engineering that needs to be done to actually get a real current cost towards renovating and then through the SGCP, which I don't remember what that stands for, which is for the existing DPW area plans that's down at River Street plus the adjoining properties to look at ideally what type of a mixed use redevelopment that space could look like. And then again, the biggest one is through the LWRP program for the multipurpose field. So in total, we're asking for about $3 million in grant money from the state, which would be accompanied by a local match of about 1.7 million. So 4.7 million total project cost. But as in the past, I don't think that we would be guaranteed to get all 5 of them. So it might just be 1 or maybe 2. But in any case, that's essentially what we're applying for.
Sorry, I'm missing one. Bridge design, pedestrian bridge design.
Yeah.
LWRP, multi-purpose field. Or what were the other ones?
The salt shed.
Salt shed.
Salt shed, yep. And the
Mixed use.
fueling station,
Got it, okay. Wait, fueling station and salt shed are one?
2 separate.
Okay.
And that's just this year.
That's just this year. Yeah.
Do it all over again next year.
Yeah.
Do it all over again next year.
So we are applying for grants for the DPW, even though there is already funds allocated.
Yes, because the funding,
Didn't cover though.
the funding is not covering those. Yep. The back of house excludes
And-
the fueling and
And
the.
we're allowed. It didn't cover it based on the new scope.
Correct.
Okay.
They were excluded.
Wonder, I don't know what the salt shed grant is, but I wonder if there's any, because there's the whole thing of salinity of water and potential environmental impacts, if there's a way to make it like a more of an eco-friendly salt shed, like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we are doing, I mean, just by taking it from its current location and relocating it up and out of the flood zone.
Yeah,
That is doing a lot
so maybe we should really emphasize that, like, you want all
Yeah,
the
that-
salt in the Hudson,
of.
right? Like, that's what would happen.
Jenny does a very good
Jenny,
job of
That
building
came up.
narrative.
Yeah, okay.
Jenny's wordsmithing it.
Okay,
And then one last thing is as we've been digging into the green resiliency grant, that's not part of the CFA. That would come in about 3 weeks. After further review, most of our project does not qualify for funding due to the existing speedies permit that's been issued for the East Parcel redevelopment. This basically means we've already taken credit under the general site stormwater permit for reducing impervious, putting back pervious pavement, all those types of things. So we're, initially looking at the general structure of that grant. Hey, this is intended to do pervious parking and all those other things. It's that we're actually ineligible because we are already essentially getting credit from the state just as part of the stormwater management plan. So that doesn't mean that we're ineligible under other programs, but it really just means that we would really not have a chance at winning, where we thought we were going to get $5 million at 90% state covered. We would probably only be getting, we'd be lucky to get 10% because of just some of the things that go above and beyond, like bioswales and other things that aren't included in the SWIP. So those efforts will have to be redirected elsewhere, on some other grant opportunity. So I think I mentioned previously that Jenny will be coming in at one of our meetings in September once the CFA is behind us, so we can kind of start strategizing towards what those next other opportunities are.
One of the options before was the bridge that you had mentioned previously. And that was the pedestrian bridge, or that's something else?
So no, the pedestrian bridge we are including in the CFA program,
Even though it's a county bridge.
because we're not including any construction dollars.
It's just
It
design.
is just going to be, we're looking to get some money towards, maybe a study or the upfront design costs. So things that would have nothing to do with really ownership. That being said, we may still need a letter of support from the county that says, yeah, we have no problem.
We could do that throughout the village on other things too.
For
I didn't know that you didn't have to have ownership to.
well, ownership is probably typically recommended, especially when you're applying towards significant, capital dollars. But there are forms, it's been done before. If you can apply, you can have joint applications. It's what the LDC and the village, typically the village is the applicant and the LDC is the sponsor or whatever it's called.
Hopefully that the thought on this was really to identify a grant that might fit that need. As far if we were to get it, that's like step one. To actually get something built would involve other grants and permissions.
Correct.
But I think the whole idea was that it would be a value add to get a pedestrian bridge between the two. So if we can help by getting some of this grant, which Jenny identified as a pot that we could potentially tap into, that would be great.
But, and then the green resiliency, there's nothing else that we could, outside of the east parcel, there's no other.
Yeah, the same
Using that for anything,
or even
why
like,
don't we?
It did, well,
Is it?
have we gotten credit for like, didn't we put in a bioswale?
yeah, but it's
Grant?
anything on the east parcel would essentially be excluded because our speedies permit covers all 30 acres. And additionally with the green resiliency grant, the application's due on August 15th. That application also requires a feasibility study. Well, I was working with Woodard and Curran to put together a quick study that, because you basically have to demonstrate that the cow work. We would have no time, to find another project and have a study done.
When's Jenny coming in?
Probably whenever our first meeting in September is. I think we'll get to it, but you,
Not met Jenny and we haven't. I thought you met her. Or,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it'll be fun to get her in to go over the existing grants we submitted, but also starting to plan for next year.
Mhm.
Which we do every year, but it's good for everyone to, it's a funky process. There's so many different acronyms that,
I know, I can't keep up with them.
I know.
It's not just a 3-letter acronym, it's like 4 or 5.
Right.
5-letter one, yeah.
What else, Dan?
All right, so 2 more items. The LDC audit is underway. EFPR started about a week and a half ago. It should be wrapping up in early August. We'll have, as we've done in the past, once the draft audit's been presented and reviewed by the LDC treasurer, we'll have a presentation to the board to give the rundown and adopt the results. And then I think
It's the treasurer?
treasurer is Pasquale. Well, there's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was named the LDC, okay.
I think I was.
Not the treasurer, but or maybe at a certain point.
Yeah, I think we need a board member.
I think I was.
There's also,
Some.
yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the annual, position.
Yeah.
What is Pasquale, like the CFO or?
He was the LDC treasurer, is he not?
We'll look into that, no big deal. I know Benji really wanted to be treasurer. You guys also saw, I forwarded around those questions, the auditor today, meaty questions, typical audit questions, but a few of those, I just want to get some counsel on as far as the, litigation and.
So once,
Okay.
and yeah, once we get through the adoption of the audit, I'll go through the process of getting the Paris reporting completed. That's usually done the end of August, or if we can, if everything else falls into place.
They give their presentation as well.
That will, ideally, we can get that, squeeze that in August,
It's very exciting.
but yeah. A lot of numbers. And lastly, Justin forwarded a few emails relating to the 100 College Arms renovation project. We are expecting to hold a public hearing for the bond issuance at our August 11th meeting. So we'll be posting
Who is doing that?
the LDC, yeah, as the bond issuer. So Justin, I believe we already have the notice we need to post on the website. And then Justin will be circulating any documents.
You need more color.
I noticed that you did not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, thank you.
Okay.
Well, we got some more work, 'cause
Thank
I
you,
have
John.
more questions on this.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I just want to understand what public hearing is meant to accomplish.
Yeah. Last.
I know it sounded like it's a requirement, but let's just make sure the public knows what it's about. And that would happen at our usual Monday meeting here?
Correct.
And how long does that have to run?
It has to be posted minimum 7 days in advance, as long as it's posted by the end of this week.
As one public meeting, it's sufficient, or we
One.
have to do multiple?
No, I believe this is just one, it's an open and close.
Okay, so we could close it the same night.
Or we could leave it open for written comments.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do a lot of that.
Yeah.
This is our first public hearings.
Okay,
Woo.
maybe somebody will show up.
You use the expert.
Yeah.
You have a lot of public hearings. Okay, what else? Anything else?
With that, our next meetings, or our meetings in August would be the 11th and the 25th, but I think when we last discussed, the 25th did not work for most of the boards.
Yeah.
So we would just need to figure, I mean, if we want to try and either reschedule it now or just
Let's take August off.
strike it, and then the next one, I believe, would be September 4th. Next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had the 28th.
September 4th
September
is
8th.
a Thursday.
September 8th is the second.
So yeah, it would be the 8th. So
Okay.
we'd be taking 1, 2, 3 weeks off and then the 8th,
Our next meeting,
right?
The 11th and
The
then what,
11th.
Lauren?
And then the 8th.
And then we'd be taking, then it should be the 25th, but nobody can go.
Okay.
So if we skip that, then it would be the 8th. Because the next one is Labor Day.
is Monday.
Yeah.
first.
1, 2, 3, 3 weeks with no meeting and then a meeting.
Yeah. Dan, are you all right with that?
Fine by me.
Okay, I'm gonna wanna go into exec to discuss some legal contract negotiation matters. Anything else from you, Dan? That's it, right? Joan, you had sent around that, required training. Everybody's gotta do that, right?
It just, there are links that you can do anytime, but
oh, good.
they happen to be holding a, webinar. So I said, oh, maybe I'll send that.
Way more
This is
convenient.
the same one from last year?
If we've done it with our office, does that count?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, can I get a motion to go into exec session?
Motion to go for it. No, you
Motion
do
to
it.
go in exec?
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.